بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. There are many du'as that are mentioned in the Quran and mentioned in the Hadith, things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to ask from Him, things that the pious slaves of Allah have asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, things that our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has asked Allah and has instructed us to ask Him. But of all of these du'as, there is only one that is compulsory on every Muslim. There is one du'a that every single Muslim must ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not an option. And that dua is Ihdina as-Sirat al-Mustaqim. It is a part of Surah Al-Fatiha which everyone has to recite in their salat, in every salat, and in every rak'ah of every salat. So there's one thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obliged us to ask from Him, aside from all the other wonderful things and beautiful things that we could ask. So the question arises that why have we been obliged to ask for hidayah? And the reason is that hidayah is the source of all good that comes to a human being, and it is what leads a person to fulfilling their purpose in life, and it is what leads a person towards Allah. Ultimately, it leads a person straight into Jannah. So hidayah is the most precious thing, the most important and the most relevant thing. So the question arises that how do we get hidayah? So the Quran, from the beginning to the end, is all about hidayah. How do you get it? How do you lose it? How do you increase it or decrease it? How can you tell when someone has it? And how can you tell when someone doesn't have it? The Quran from beginning to end is for this purpose. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says right in the beginning, it is hudan, it is guidance. This Quran is a book of guidance. Two things in particular are mentioned which probably summarize everything else. Two types of people will get hidayat from the Quran, and they will get hidayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Two conditions. The first condition is iman. Now, you might say that, yes, we have iman, but there are many levels, you can say hundreds or thousands of levels of iman. Depending on what level you're at, that's the kind of guidance you will get. If you want to increase your hidayat, increase your iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَن يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِ قَلْبَهُ. A person who has iman in Allah, Allah is going to guide his heart. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ يَهْدِيهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ بِإِيمَانِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides people based on how strong their iman is and what kind of iman they have. If a person's iman is so weak that it cannot get him to fulfill a basic requirement from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he cannot expect to have hidayat of a very high level. He'll have to boost his iman to get more hidayat. And the second thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says is, it's hudan lil muttaqeen. This Quran is guidance for people of taqwa, people who have the awareness of Allah, and people who are trying to avoid the displeasure of Allah. A person who adopts these two things will have hidayat, and a person who lets go of these two things or puts these two things at risk if a person doesn't look after their iman and protect it from all of the things that attack iman, all of the things that diminish iman, that decrease iman, that steal your iman, those environments, those people, those activities, those thoughts, if a person doesn't protect their iman, then they're not going to protect their hidayah. And the same thing happens with taqwa. If a person doesn't guard their taqwa and look after it, then the next thing to go is their hidayat. So our hidayat is based on these two things. And if you think about this a little bit deeply, you will find in this the answer to all our religious issues and questions, including why can we not pay attention in salat when we want to? Why don't we feel satisfaction from our deen? Why are we always confused? Why are we always wondering what our true identity is? Why are we so easily tempted and lured towards things that deep inside we know we probably shouldn't be doing? The answer lies in protecting these two things, our iman and our taqwa. So a Muslim, because a Muslim holds hidayat dearer than anything else, more important, more precious than anything else, they know that the only way to do that is to guard their iman and to guard their taqwa. That was the message of Ramadan, by the way. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to put us on the path of taqwa, so we continue moving closer and closer and closer towards Him, which is hidayat. يَهْدِي بِهِ اللَّهُ مَنِ اتَّبَعَ رِضْوَانُهُ سُبُلَ السَّلَامِ وَيُخْرِجُهُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَيَهْدِيهِمْ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. That is the path that we need to get on and stay on and move forward on. It's not enough to be standing on a path and say, I'm on a straight path. Are you moving forward on that path to where it leads, to where it's supposed to take you? Or are you just standing there with one foot on the path and one foot off the path? So these are serious matters that we can take control of if we take active measures to protect our iman and taqwa now, especially since it's very close, very near after Ramadan. If we take those steps now, then inshallah the rest of our year will pass in a movement towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Getting closer and closer, day by day, in small steps, day by day, week by week, month by month. And if we don't make an effort to protect these things, then you have to make that effort. They don't get protected by themselves. You have to take responsibility for your iman, for your taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will start guiding you towards Him. And inshallah, by the time you reach the end of this year, you will find yourself much closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than you are now. May Allah azza wa jalla open up the doors of hidayah for all of us. Wa sallallahu wa sallama wa baraka ala nabiyyina.